You're listening to another episode of the Coaster101 podcast. I'm Andrew Stillwell, and I'm joined this week on the podcast by the godfather of Coaster101 himself, John Stevenson. John, how's it going?
Hello, it is going very well. It is going very, very well.
Well, John, the first thing I do want to do is the week this podcast releases will be the 16th birthday of Coaster101. I'm not going to go back like we did on the first episode of the podcast and read the very first post. But yeah, it's been 16 years of Coaster101 this week. You know, if you're listening to this on Monday, our actual birthday is what, the 15th of June, John?
Yeah. Sweet 16. We're getting our driver's license. It's going to be a pretty big day, so we're excited about it. But yeah, we won't subject the internet to that first post that I wrote at the ripe age of 13.
Coaster101, license to thrill. Ooh,
Yeah.
I smell a marketing ploy here. But you know, it's a big news week. Last week, obviously, Velocicoaster opened down at Universal Orlando. Jersey Devil coaster opened at Six Flags Great Adventure. Two very huge news items. So if you've read the title of this podcast, you're knowing we're not actually going to talk about either of those. We're talking about John's trip to Holiwood Nights. So Holiwood Nights was a couple weekends ago. Their theme this year was the Wizard of Oz, like 100 H's, like a Wizard of Oz theme. For those listening, and I mean, we have a pretty niche audience, I feel like, of coaster enthusiasts who all know what Holiwood Nights is. But, you know, can you give us the elevator pitch on what Holiwood Nights is as far as a coaster enthusiast event?
Sure. So Holiday World's Holiwood Nights it's got to be one of the longest running coaster enthusiast events. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been going on, but it obviously is a event that's exclusive to coaster enthusiasts that are in a number of different clubs, and it's typically over 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday. And then, as the name suggests, at night, that's really, I think, one of the selling points of this event. So they will keep the park's coasters and some of the other rides open well after the park closes, up as late as midnight. And, you pretty much have free reign of the park. And one of the most sought after experiences of Holiwood Nights is the trimless voyage experience. So the park reduces or lightens, however you want to say it, the trim brakes on Voyage that makes its biggest wooden coaster, the Voyage, makes the ride experience a little more tame during the day for your average rider, and then at night, without those trim brakes, it really ups the ante a little bit as far as the intensity and speed goes. And so that's just a relatively rare opportunity to experience the Voyage at that intensity. So it's quite the experience. And of course, there's other you've got the behind the scenes tour, the walkbacks to see the coasters from different angles. Great food, auction. The water park was open after the park closed as well for ERT. So it's a very well-rounded event, and definitely one that you really get your money's worth for. So it's such a fun event. This is actually my first time attending it, and I've been to a lot of coaster enthusiast events, and this one was definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's been about 5 years since you and I were both last at Holiday World. I think we were there for another enthusiast event. I think it was a Coaster Buzz something or other.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we were there, it was Thunderbird's opening year, and we had ERT scheduled on Thunderbird in the morning, and I think you and I might have been on that last train, and then like something went wrong, terribly wrong. Like it opened for ERT, didn't open for most of the day while they had to get a part in, but it meant our walk back on Thunderbird, we've got to get super up close with that thing, like getting into the barn where they, get right up on the track, you touch the track. I mean, Holiday World, I think they do it right. And again, I've never been to a Holiwood Nights. It's one of those coaster enthusiast events that's kind of on my bucket list. But I feel like they've got to do it right. The family behind that park, the Cook family, they blow it out anytime they get the chance to. So, but what was it like for you being back at Holiday World for the first time in 5 years?
Yeah, it was the last time I was there. I actually went in the fall of 2016, so not quite 5 years, but it was great. It was the park's not too. It's only a 2.5 hours away from me, so it's kind of a shame that it's taken me this long to get back there. But it was great being back. I mean, they haven't added any major attractions to the dry side, but the coasters that they have there are just incredible wooden coasters, and I guess we can dive into Thunderbird being closed. Unfortunately, it closed, I think, earlier. It closed sometime, maybe the weekend prior, I'm not sure, but they actually sent all of the attendees a email letting us know that the coaster was most likely going to be down during the event, and that they were very sorry and they were working on it as quickly as they could. But they, as to make up for this ride being closed, they actually offered everyone, all the attendees, the opportunity to come back anytime this season for free. We just have to show our tickets. So I think that really it exemplifies Holiday World's dedication to the guest experience, and really, especially coaster enthusiasts, really, making known how much they, share that passion with us, and really want to allow us to have a memorable experience. So I thought that was great for them to offer. So, and I think with this point, the issue is related to to one of the footers. I know they were working on it. I could see it from the voyage. So hopefully they're able to reopen it soon, because it is a really great coaster.
It's a bummer that the Thunderbird wasn't open, but let's talk about some of the rides that were open. Holiday World, they're known a lot, but they're not known for their water coasters. They're known for the wooden coasters, and a lot of parks may kind of gun for that title of wooden coaster capital of the world. But with Raven, Legend, and the Voyage, Holiday World certainly deserves nomination in my book. How were your rides on? I'm assuming you got on all three of those wooden coasters, but how were your rides, and what was so good about the wooden coasters there?
Yeah, so like I said, it's been almost 5 years since I was last at Holiday World. I guess I'll just go down the list of the order that we rode the coaster. So of course we had to start with Voyage. It's the largest coaster at Holiday World, and I was really, really floored by that coaster. I'm not sure. I know it's undergone some work, I believe, in the last 5 years, but I had just completely forgotten how balls to the walls insane that coaster is. And this was during the day. But just how disorienting it is, the speed, that sustained speed, and especially after the mid-course brake run. I mean, it slows down, especially during the day. Doesn't stop, but it definitely slows down pretty significantly. But just the speed that it still manages to pick up after that. And the tunnels, I love how the tunnels, you kind of fly into these tunnels, and they're so long, or the depth, they're cool. The air is cool. It's just it's such a fun experience, especially compared to some of the other coasters tunnels that are above ground. I mean, and just that intensity, but I recall it being very rough the last time I rode it, especially at that event that we were all at, and what was that, 2015, I believe. And
Yeah.
it was, I was just really, really blown away by it. So it was great to be able to experience it again. And then at night, it was absolutely wild. I mean, you talk about a night ride. there is no, and I don't know if maybe because the Thunderbird area was kind of closed off, so I don't know if maybe it was a little bit darker because of that, or I know that it was a little bit overcast, but it was insane. I mean, you talk about not being able to see a thing. You cannot see a thing. And my friend who was with me had never been, so I said, we've got to ride in the front row, have to. So we did that at night, and I mean, it is the most. I mean, that inability to see anything, I think, just really increases that adrenaline and the kind of that anxiety, I guess. That, I mean, you're really at the mercy of this coaster. I mean, there is no really bracing yourself for what's to come. It is just it's such an incredible coaster. So that was really a treat for me to kind of be reintroduced to the voyage like that. And so then
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Have you seen, and I'm teeing you up for this, even though I know I've sent you the video. Have you seen the music video that the group Fozzy did that was filmed at Holiday World? I think it's their song Sane. I think what I've heard, they did this video in 6 takes. They filmed it on the voyage, and we will include the video in the show notes. But that is just, I feel like, as unrelenting as that coaster is, I feel like it's got to be very difficult to, and I know you're not singing when you're filming a music video, but I've watched this video. It came out, at the end of May, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times, just wondering how they accomplished it. Just because, like, they're going up the lift hill, and the guitarist throws the guitar off the lift hill, which is funny. But you've got Chris Jericho in the front seat, and he's just singing this song while the roller coaster's going on, and it's absurd. So I have no idea. And again, it's been 5 years. I only rode it one time when I was there, but how they managed to do that, and then how you managed to tolerate a ride with, no trim, so it's more intense than what I'm seeing in the music video. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of, I think, defining coaster moments. Definitely in the wooden category, like riding the Beast at night for the first time, riding Lightning Rod at night for the first time. I mean, it's such an exhilarating experience, and just a totally different ride. I mean, even trim breaks aside, it's just a totally different ride at night. And yeah, props to everyone involved with that music video, because of all the coasters that you could choose to film a music video, which of course, like you said, takes multiple takes. That's impressive. I mean, got to give them credit for that.
Love it. Well, let's go into Raven and Legend. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I had to talk current events for a little bit.
Oh yeah, and everyone needs to go watch that video. Absolutely.
So what was your next wooden coaster you rode after the voyage?
Yeah, so then we went on to Legend, which had undergone a good bit of work prior to my last visit in 2016. So it was still holding up well. I mean, it is such a out of control ride, just like Voyage. I love the double down element that they incorporated when they were doing that track work. The pacing is incredible. That's another great ride at night. Not quite as pitch black as Voyage is, but still that layout, the helix, I love the tunnel that goes under the log flume. I love that interaction between rides. I've always really liked that. It's a very picturesque roller coaster, and that's actually the walk back tour that we got to do. Took us to the base of the first drop, and kind of standing there in the shadows of this coaster, this quote unquote legendary coaster, was
See what
really,
you did there.
Right. I'm the first one to ever do that. So yeah, so it was a great ride. Not quite as insane as Voyage, but definitely up there. And I love the investments that Holiday World has made in these wooden coasters to really keep them at the in the state that they're in, which is good. I mean, these are not brand new coasters, and so the fact that they've been able to keep them as relatively comfortable as they are, obviously they're still wooden coasters, but yeah, I love how much that attention to detail that they give, and is very apparent on Legend.
Nice. And then rounding out the wooden coaster trio here, you've got the Raven. So what do you got to say about the Raven?
Raven is another one that, I've been on it. I've been to Holiday World, I guess, 3 or 4 times now. And each time I think Raven doesn't necessarily blow me away to the extent that Voyage does, but it's always one of those, you see it from the entrance of the park, and, it looks it's the park's oldest coaster. It's not tall. It's not that long. It's got that kind of that iconic turn over the lake. But man, it is a ride that just really picks up speed in that second half and is just such a fun ride. It's short and sweet, but the pacing, like Legend and like Voyage, is incredible. And they've also done a good bit of work on it. They retracked the turn over the lake. I think they rebuilt it entirely, actually, and so it's very smooth. I love how it's kind of hidden. It is hidden in the trees. And it goes through a very wooded area. And that's another one at night. It's so fun because you really can't see that well in that one either. And it's just difficult, especially for me. I haven't been on it enough times to really be able to predict, like Lightning Rod, as crazy as it is. I've been on it so many times that I can kind of know, what's about to happen. But on all of those coasters, I'm just not familiar enough with them. So it's even more fun to ride it at night because there's no preparing yourself really for what comes next, because I just don't have that muscle memory to be able to, kind of brace myself and turn the right way. And you're at the mercy of this wooden coaster. So it was also, it's hard for me to rank the 3 because they are all so different. You would think, they're all wooden coasters, but I mean, I think the 3 could not be any more different.
Yeah. I vaguely remember the one trip I took, and if it was 2015, we're just old, I guess. We're not going to go there right now, though. But outside of the coasters, you mentioned you had some ERT, or what we'll call EST, exclusive slide time, inside of Holiday World's Water Park Splash and Safari. Did you happen to get on any of their world famous water coasters?
So I did. It was funny. We actually only had time for about one slide, and so I posed the question on Twitter. I posted a poll of which of the 3 water coasters at Splash and Safari we should ride, and of course I did it right as we were walking to the locker to put our stuff up. So I only started to get a few responses, and when I was literally putting my bag into the locker, I saw Cheetah Chase was ahead. And so we're like, well, it's the world's only, as far as I know, racing, launching water coaster. So, let's do it big. Let's do this. So we waited for about an hour. It broke down several times while we were waiting, which was frustrating. We finally got on it, and I should preface my review of this water coaster by saying I'm not a huge water park fan. I've never been one to really just enjoy water slides or being in a water park. And a lot of times that's because it's attached to a theme park with roller coasters. And if I'm given the 2 options, I'm always going to choose roller coasters. But
Same.
I did want to take advantage of this and just be able to say that I had ridden it. I did not like it. It was, well, I should say I'm very cold natured. So just right off the bat, the water was very cold, which your average person would probably enjoy. But the thing that I was not prepared for at all, it's funny, the raft in front of us, these two kids had um, goggles on. And I thought, that's weird. Or, I mean, are y'all going swimming after this? Like, why are you wearing goggles? And as our raft took off, I quickly learned why they were wearing goggles, because it just seemed like the entire course of this slide, this water coaster, I was just being just almost like waterboarded with this just fire hose of water. And I'm sure I'm making it much more dramatic than it was, but I couldn't even open my eyes. And it wasn't like, oh, there's a little bit of water in my eyes. It just was like, this water is going to throw me out of the raft. Um, and I don't know what I was expecting. Obviously it's a water slide. You're going to get wet, but I mean, it was just relentless. Just like someone was just dumping huge buckets of water on me. And so it was really difficult to enjoy. I mean, it was fast. It was well paced. I mean, it's a very cool concept. So, I mean, I'm glad that I did it. I would not probably rush back to line, just because it was probably our longest wait of the trip. It was about an hour, and yeah, the reliability seemed spotty. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest experience. And then once we got out and went back to to the locker and got my phone out, I saw that the final results of the poll, Cheetah Chase. So each of the three water coasters at Holiday World, Cheetah Chase, Mammoth, and Wildebeest, Mammoth won by a pretty sizable amount. They came in about 41% of votes. And then Cheetah Chase and Wildebeest were at about 30%. So if I had it to do all over again, I would definitely have ridden Mammoth. I think that one is seems to be a little less intense, and the monsoon of water that overtakes you. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I think that seems to be the standout there, and definitely what I'll go on if I find myself at Splash and Safari again.
With any good coaster event, there are some, cool opportunities. You mentioned the auction, you mentioned the unique food. Was there anything else that was going on? I know Coasting for Kids was going on that morning that you were at the park, and a quick selfish shout out to Give Kids the World for the Coasting for Kids event. We are one of the sponsors of that event. Be sure to check that out. gktw.org/coasting. It's at 6 more parks this summer. If you participate, you'll get a great shirt that's got our logo on the back of it. But what were some other, things that were going on? I know people talk about Holiwood Nights kind of as like the mecca for the coaster enthusiasts. And, you see the rides at night with the enthusiasts in the dog masks, and I don't get that. But what else was going on that you were able to see?
Well, yeah, like I said, it was so cool seeing our shirt everywhere. I mean, that is such a great organization, obviously, that we care so much about, and so it was an honor to see to be represented on that shirt with some great other companies in the industry. So that was a big deal, and I love how they were able to coordinate with the two events to take place on the same day, the same weekend. So I think one of the highlights, I guess, for me was that walk back tour. Just anytime I get to see roller coasters from, a hidden or a less traveled path or something, being able to go back and be so close to these wooden coasters. And I guess one of the things that surprised me, and it did and it didn't, was just how many attendees were at this event. I mean, I've been to Coaster Mania, I've been to Coaster Enthusiast events at Dollywood. I mean, this was another, and I think I texted you this. This was like another breed of coaster enthusiasts that was here, and I think it really speaks to how coveted this event is and how much it means to people. And I mean, it was such a diverse crowd, in age and in, just, you could tell kind of the the differences. You could tell there were more the hardcore enthusiasts, the kind of the newer enthusiasts, the more casual enthusiasts. I mean, but just the energy. I know I posted, I think I tweeted this video from the queue, the voyage queue, which is in kind of under the station, and the chants, and people were just chanting names of roller coasters. I mean, it was so bizarre, and I think it's this camaraderie that's built up over the years. And I think part of it is people are so excited to be at parks again after the last year. And, we all share this, this passion. And then the employees are so into it. They're so friendly and energetic. And, these people are staying up until midnight, very tired, I'm sure. I know I was, so I can't even imagine how tired they are after working this event. And it's such the atmosphere is really unlike one that and even at Coaster Mania. And I think it's because it is a little bit more intimate. It's a smaller park. But it was special. I mean, I felt very old because the energy that some of these kids had at 11:30 at night, I was like way past my expiration time. But it's just so exciting to see everyone at this park. And it's a really special event. And the food, I was looking at the schedule on Saturday, it had listed snacks, and so we get to the pavilion, and snacks at Holiwood Nights was a tater tot nacho bar with all the toppings you could think of, these delicious Rice Krispie treat type bars, cake. I mean, it was just unreal. Dinner was a buffet. I mean, they had pizza Friday night. It was just, you don't go hungry at this event. And the schedule was everything was spread out pretty well, so I didn't feel like I was having to race from one thing to the other. It was just a very special event, and I hope I can go again next year, because that's when I really kind of feel like I'm amongst my own kind, when you're at this event.
These are our people. These are the people who are listening to our podcast. A lot of them, a good number of them, were probably at Holiwood Nights. So, I don't think you were signing autographs or anything, were you?
I was not. No. Not no autographs this time. But I also, again, I have to give a shout out to the employees. I mean, it would be so easy to just be kind of, at that point checked out. But even after 11 o'clock, I mean, the energy and that customer service that Holiday World is so well known for was just, so clear and so present, and everyone could not have been friendlier. And then you had, you could tell you had the leadership there. I know Leah Cook was who is now the director of communications. After Paula retired, I mean, she was there leading. I mean, there was everyone. It was kind of like an all hands on deck event, and it was just a really, really special
That's
weekend.
Awesome. And you're talking about that energy. I know the energy continued down the road in Louisville the next day at Keys to the Kingdom. John, I got to ask the question: are we just old and washed? Or we were talking offline. You said you could not have made it to Keys to the Kingdom just on an energy level alone. Like,
yeah, I am really showing my age at 29. I would love to go to Keys to the Kingdom, because Kentucky Kingdom is about the same distance from me as Holiday World, and I mean, it makes total sense that they would have that event on the same weekend, because Holiday World and Kentucky Kingdom are so close. But yeah, up till midnight. After midnight, it was. I would not have. I wasn't planning. I wasn't able to go anyway. But I don't think I would have had it in me. So, maybe I'll alternate. Maybe I'll do Keys to the Kingdom next year. I do have to say, it was funny. So leaving, we weren't the last, we weren't the last train out of the night by any means, but I guess we took the wrong path to get to the park exit. If you're familiar with Holiday World, especially near the front, really all over the park, it's kind of, there are multiple ways that you can get from point A to point B. So I guess we inadvertently went the long way. So we ended up walking through the 4th of July section into the Christmas section to get back to the main entrance area, the Christmas area. And they turned off the lights. And that's another park I'm not familiar enough with it to really know where I am. And so I had said, thankful I had my friend with me. Otherwise, it would have been very unsettling. But yeah, I had to get my phone out, and just because I realized I was walking towards a dead end. So it was a little fun. The music, thankfully, the patriotic music was still playing. So it wasn't totally creepy, but yeah, I don't think I would do as well, having a park to myself at night as I think I would.
I mean, that's how all of us are going to go, right? We're going to get killed in an abandoned haunted amusement park with the Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. Let's look ahead a little bit. I mean, obviously, we're about a month away right now from the next time, in my knowledge anyway, that any of the Coaster 101 guys are getting together, and we're headed up to Coaster Stock at Kings Island. As another one of those coaster enthusiast events, and we haven't seen the itinerary or anything like that, what are you looking forward to most about Coaster Stock?
Well, I'm really excited. I think with it being a larger park, I will say with ERT at Holiday World, especially with the Voyage, and again, Thunderbird was closed, so I think that probably played it a little bit into it. The lines still for Voyage were pretty lengthy, so I'm interested to see how the lines are at ERT at Coaster Stock. And then too, I know Holiday World, I don't believe they had a cap on attendance. And so I think theoretically you could have registered for the event on site. And whereas Kings Island sold out in, I want to say 15 minutes maybe. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what the crowd is like at Kings Island. Especially with it being a much larger spread out park. But I'm so excited. I mean, some of my favorite coasters are at that park. So, and I went last summer for Orion, but with their limited hours, the park closed, well before the sunset. So I'm so excited to get a nighttime ride on the Beast after almost 10 years now, and a nighttime ride on Mystic Timbers and Diamondback and Orion. I mean, I am so excited for that event.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I haven't been up to Kings Island in a couple years, not since Mystic Timbers is open. So I think there's 3 that I'm missing there. I think we're going to go over to Stricker's Grove too. So it's just going to be a Central Ohio just tour to SBF Visa. I feel like between all this Scene 75s we're planning to go to, and then the Columbus Zoo on Sunday. I mean, we're going to do it all.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time.
And we'll share with the listeners how we are very neck and neck right now in our coaster counts. I'm at 241. You are at?
I'm at 242.
Okay, so I'm going to have to sneak in a couple of, because I think you'll probably get all the credits that I get, if not more, during that trip. So, yes. Yeah, especially at Kings Island. So
here's what's shocking me, and this is some inside baseball. Like, Kyle's down in Florida this week. I think Kyle has lapped both of us. He's like up near in like the mid 240s or almost to 250 at this point. So the race to 300 in the Coaster 101 License to Thrill 16th year, it's on. We're doing this. It's happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get up to the Northeast. That's one of the last frontiers for me, or Texas, one of those two, and surpass you guys. I think that's
It's not happening.
That's my go-to. Yeah. Okay, you keep thinking that. We'll see.
All right. Well, anyway, trash talk aside, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Coaster 101 podcast. John, appreciate your time. As always, make sure you're following our website, coaster101.com. We post articles there multiple times a week, sometimes daily, sometimes multiple times a day. There's some really good content coming down the pipeline. Also on social media, we're at Coaster101 across all platforms. So be sure to find us there, interact with us. We love hearing from readers, listeners, theme park fans, other podcasts, the drunk riders, if you're listening to this, which you're probably not, we'll fight you guys later. It's fine. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, fan mail, or hate mail, send us an email, podcast@coaster101.com. We've also got our own merchandise store through TeePublic. That's at c101.co/shirts. We're donating 25% of the proceeds from every purchase to Give Kids the World. So it's definitely, the shirts are really cool. I say that having designed a couple of them. Kyle's designed most of them himself, but he's a graphic designer, and I just kind of host a podcast and do a lot of other things. But yeah, thanks as always to Justin Mabry of JM Music Design for our theme music, and we will talk to y'all again next week. See ya.